Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we have a list of top 10 overpowered anime main characters. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you are new, don't forget to subscribe. Now without any further delay, let's begin. Starting off at number 10, we have the White Cat Project Zero Chronicle. The plot of this anime is based on two legendary figures, the Sky's White Maiden and the Darkness Black Prince. As the world is being ravaged by an intense war between demons and light guardians, the White Maiden falls in love with the Black Prince. They do so in the naive hope that their love will put an end to the pointless war. The entire plot takes place with this myth in the background. The plot unfolds at a steady pace many centuries after the war, shedding light on several key elements that make it available. Violence and murder are frequent, if not rampant, themes in almost every chapter, and it follows the traditional shonen model with many violent fight scenes. The male protagonist is your average shonen male protagonist, prone to passionate outbursts and with a clear goal. He dedicates himself to improving his combat skills and becoming stronger. By becoming the King of Darkness, he transforms from a powerless young boy who sees his entire village massacred into someone with a mission to bring happiness to the world. On number 9 is ID Invaded. This anime portrays a fantasy world with a complex framework that allows viewers to assess the minds of other people. The police use this technology, and their mission is to investigate these psychological layers known as ID wells in order to discover suspects' identities. Not everyone is allowed to assess the identification hole. One of the requirements is that you kill someone yourself. At the ID wells, this is the case with the former detective Akihito Nada Hisago, also known as Sakaido. When a respected police officer was involved in the tragedy, Kuda found himself on the wrong side of the law. Even so, Narisago continued to help in prison, although his great detective skills still prove useful for investigations. Nada Hisago notes that not everyone is as it seems, because there is a far more sinister truth behind a series of seemingly independent crimes. Next up on number 8 is Sorcerous Tabor Orphen. Based on the long-running novel series by Yoshinobu Akita, with Yuya Kasaka handling the craft, the Majutsushi Orphen Hagurutabi for 2020 tells the story of Orphen, formerly known as Krylon Cello, who has been on a 5-year quest to find Atsali. Owing to his experience as a warrior and a wizard, his foster sister transformed into a dragon in a magic experiment gone wrong. He is capable of dealing with almost any situation that comes his way. As the story progresses, he learns to rely on his nakama Climo and magic as they travel through the lands, encountering the ghosts of Orphen's past. The pacing of Orphen does a great job of world building for the audience, and its character Orphen does an excellent job of showing not just how things work, but how they also make sense. At number 7 is Inspector. Inspector is an urban fantasy mystery anime with an unusual premise. It is focused on seeking a solution that causes the least amount of harm to the least number of people, rather than on finding justice or solving the crime. The overpowered main character Kotoko Iwanaga is the most impressive aspect of this anime. A character who grabs the audience attention right away. She is medically disabled because she is missing an eye and a leg, but this does not stop her. She is a confident and intelligent leading lady who nevertheless deals with romantic crushes, making her really relatable. If you are looking for an interesting mystery anime, you should definitely check this one out. At number 6 is Darwin's Game. Darwin's Game is a decent one that's well worth watching. The plot follows a group of students who were invited to play the Darwin game by their classmates. A cell phone game, but as soon as they open the app, a green snake leaps from their phones, biting their necks and causing them to pass out. Unfortunately, Konami's interest peaked and he reinstalled the software since it appears to be another fighting game. With a sigh of relief, Konami decided to begin his first game. When his rival appeared in front of him during the match and attempted to chase him down with a knife, the nice surprise was short-lived. Darwin's game was no ordinary game, but a vicious fight for survival, Konami realized as he walked desperately for his life. Up next at number 5 is Kagister of an Insect Cage. This story takes place decades after a virus emerged that transforms infected people into giant carnivorous insects that are extremely difficult to destroy. This triggers a huge societal breakdown, with the majority of countries and towns being ruined. Smaller, more remote towns with letter and number designations are now home to mankind. There is still the chance that anyone could turn into a Kagister at any moment. Thanks to names and other background hints, the story takes place in the city of EO5, which appears to be somewhere in the Middle East. The city is adjacent to an abandoned city that has turned into an insect cage where a large number of Kagisters congregate and nest. Most viewers are going to watch this show because they want to see some fun battle scenes, which this show has plenty of it. It's just a shame that they seem to be quite apart from one another. However, the combat scenes, especially when Keto is battling more humanoid creatures, are well done. If the action becomes more fast-paced, you can clearly see the tactics and instincts that Keto employs. Coming up at number 4, Dorohedoro. Dorohedoro, which is set in a dark and barren world. The anime depicts a post-apocalyptic future with a cultural division between average people living in a desolate metropolis. A primordial devil called Chidaruma, who lives in the sorcerer's world, constantly devoured and clouded by smoke and the sorcery-possessing sorcerers. The story revolves around a man named Kaiman who has lost his memory and therefore his sense of identity as a result of a sorceress transformation. He was granted a reptile head as well as immunity to all sorts of magic as a result of this. Kaiman, with the help of his friend Nikaido, takes us on a crazy ride to restore his memories and survive in an alien and violent world. The show's antagonists are powerful sorcerers syndicate led by Mr. N and his family of sorcerers. Syndicate is often presented in such a way that you get a true understanding of each character's complexity. On number 3 is the daily life of the Immortal King. Chinese anime is getting more exciting these days, and here is one from 2020 with an overpowered main character that you'll enjoy. Wongling has been a near invincible existence with prowess well beyond his grasp since he was a year old, but now that he is 16, he faces his greatest battle. Senior high school, on the other hand, presents one challenge after another. His aspirations for a low-key high school life seem to be drifting further and further away from the everlasting king's everyday life. He did have a fantastic start with the animation. All of the characters seem to be distinct. The series depicts human emotions in an unusual way. The action series are breathtaking, and there isn't a single thing about this series that you won't enjoy. On number 2, Tower of God. The plot revolves around a tower that summons a group of people known as regulars and promises to grant their deepest desires. Wealth, fame, and prestige are all desirable qualities, but there is something that surpasses them all. Those who enter the summit will be greeted by everyone. Vam25 is a child who has spent his whole life living in dark caves with dirty towels and no access to light. When a girl named Rachel appears to him through the sun, his entire life is turned upside down. He then becomes close friends with Rachel and learns a lot from her about the outside world. Consequently, as he started at the tower, a miracle occurred and Bam's journey began. He was a boy who was not chosen by the tower but who opened his own gate. They refer to it as a non-regulation organism that shakes the tower's foundation every time they enter. Finally, at number 1 we have Plunderer. Plunderer is set in a futuristic post-apocalyptic world dominated by numbers. Each person's worth is determined by a unique feature called account, which is inscribed somewhere on their bodies and determines the most important aspects of their lives. The real risk that the inhabitants of this realm face in the number format is when the count hits 0. When this occurs, the entity will be pulled into the abyss below, where they will perish. Hina, the protagonist, keeps track of how many kilometers she has walked. When her mother is pulled into the darkness in line with her mother's final wish, she embarks on a quest to find the elusive ace. Hina's unwavering search leads her down an unlikely path. When she encounters a mysterious masked knight named Leechbatch, the oddest thing about him hits her. Aside from the mask, his counter displays a negative number. With the introduction of dystopian future where your existence is determined by numbers in a rather concrete way, Plunderer has a fascinating idea. Plunderer can captivate you primarily due to the unique world it seeks to create. That's it for today's video. I hope you like it and please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you are new, remember to hit the notification button for any more upcoming videos.